I am live. I'm reading Prelude to the Landing on Planet Earth. It's a book written by Stuart Holrowyd, and it was published in 1977. Today is the March the 24th, 2025. They are on their journey, they being the trio, Phyllis Schlemmer, Sir John Whitmore and Andrija, Puharich, in the Middle East to prevent World War, and we are here in March of 1975. This was the place that their Israeli friends brought John, Phyllis and Andrija to in the afternoon of the 3rd of April. Israel and Gideon knew nothing about the dramatic background of the trip. However, they knew about their eccentric friend's habit of sitting in meditation with their feet in water for 15 minutes every afternoon. And when they had all done admiring and commenting on the scene, and John said it was time for their meditation, the Israelis took off their shoes and socks as well. This created a dilemma which John and Andrija discussed in private for a minute. They had formed the idea that their presence was needed in this particular spot at this time, because it was the water of this stream which ran into Galilee that was going to be poisoned, and that by sitting in meditation with their feet in the stream they would be able to neutralize it. But what, they wondered, would happen if some of this stuff remained active and they got it on their feet? It was perhaps a minimal risk, but was it one they could let others take unwittingly? John was doubtful, but Andrija was of the opinion that they could trust the management to look after everything, and certainly shouldn't allow any doubts to jeopardize their work at this time. So the two Israelis joined them in their meditation, unaware of any possible danger. The water was pretty cold, and after 15 minutes their feet were numb and they had to massage the life back into them. "Did you get anything, Phyllis?" John asked, for often her clairvoyance in meditation tied in significantly with what they later discovered had happened. Phyllis said that she had got something, but she would tell them later. When they were alone, just the three of them, back at the Galilee Kinneret, they compared notes and agreed that at the time of the meditation and after, they had all felt quite depleted of energy. That was probably a sign that their energies had been effectively channeled. Phyllis's vision also suggested that they had. She had clearly seen two people dressed as Bedouin in a field near a stream. One was dressed as a woman, but she knew by the vibration that it was a man disguised. They were going towards two canisters, which had just been dropped from a helicopter. They got to where the canisters lay and were going to pick them up, when suddenly the canisters dematerialized. The Arabs were in consternation. They gesticulated and shouted at each other and rushed about the place searching for the vanished canisters. Phyllis said she felt quite sorry for them, for she could pick up the fear they had of going back to their leaders and having to say they had lost the canisters. They would probably pretend they had done the job, she surmised, and hope that some other explanation why it wasn't successful would be found. The information Tom gave them when they held a communication at 9 o'clock that evening seemed to confirm that Phyllis's vision was in essentials correct. "You have upon this day completed," he said, "though not in the minds of those that oppose, for it will take a few days for them to realize that there is no consequence. What you have done this day was a necessity, because in their blindness and ignorance those that oppose would not only have caused destruction, and disease in this nation of Israel, but in other nations too. It would have caused contamination of their own waters and of that of the nation of Jordan. You are dealing with those that are not of great mental capacity, but only have anger and hate and emotion without reason. Yes, Andrija said, and what actually happened this afternoon? Did you successfully neutralize the toxin? It did not even enter the water. Did you in fact dematerialize the containers and the poison? Yes. That is the reason there is weakness in the three of you, and particularly in the being. It is now important that you rejuvenate your physical bodies. It is important for the blending that you rebuild your etherics. They may, he went on, now take a short break to attend to their personal affairs, but they should be back in Israel together within 2 weeks. There was a great deal to be done in the months ahead. Andrija asked if they might just summarize the various work projects. There was Altia's communications transmission project, which he understood was a long-term project that would begin with radio and television reception of anomalous signals and pictures. Then there was the work of communicating the message of the Nine to the world at large, and particularly to the nation of Israel. Thirdly, there was the work of contacting and helping children with paranormal powers. There was healing work, an area in which Phyllis had been increasingly engaged and was to produce some impressive results in the months ahead. Then there was the dolphin communication project. Yes, Tom said, but war must be the first of your priorities. It is important for you to keep in your mind and heart the seriousness of the situation in the nation of Israel. As we have explained to you, you must spend most of your time here until the end of your month of July. For if July can pass without a war in this nation of Israel, it will be the ending of all wars. This was the most impressive of all Tom's predictions, for at the time it made Arab-Israel's relations were just about as bad as they had ever been, and a peaceful settlement of their differences seemed a very remote possibility. However, by mid-July 1975, Egypt and Israel were willing to make some concessions, and in August, Dr. Kissinger was able to announce that as a result of the negotiations of the past few weeks, the Sinai Agreement was virtually concluded, and all that remained was the dotting of the I's. In the 18 months that have elapsed between then and the time of this writing, not only has there been no fresh outbreak or serious threat of war, but there has also been a discernible improvement of relations between Israel and the Arab world. During these 18 months, too, the communications and the work of Andrija, John and Phyllis have continued. But that will have to be another story, for it is as long, as complex, and as eventful as the one this book has told. So that was chapter 8, the ending of chapter 8, and chapter 9 is the anatomy of a mystery, and I read that another day.